In June 2016, a woman walked onto a stage at Wembley Arena in a shimmering red ball gown. Thousands of people were screaming her name. She wasn't a pop star. She wasn't a politician. She was Dr. Ruja Ignatova, and she had a promise. She promised a financial revolution. She told the world she had created a currency better, faster, and bigger than Bitcoin. People believed her. From London to Uganda, from factory workers to millionaires, they gave her their life savings. In total, she collected over $4 billion. But there was just one problem. There was no blockchain. There was no revolution. It was all a lie. And on October 25, 2017, Ruja boarded a Ryanair flight to Greece and simply vanished into thin air. Today, she is the only woman on the FBI's top 10 most wanted list. Is she alive? Did she steal the money and run? Or did the mafia silence her forever? This is the story of the Cryptoqueen. But to understand the madness, we have to go back to the beginning. It was 2014. The world was going crazy for Bitcoin. People were hearing stories of teenagers buying Lamborghinis with digital money. Everyone had FOMO, the fear of missing out. But the face of crypto was usually anonymous geeks or tech bros in hoodies. Ruja Ignatova was different. She was perfect. She wasn't a street scammer. She had a PhD in law from Oxford. She had worked for McKinsey, consulting for the biggest banks in the world. She wore expensive jewelry and spoke with authority. When she walked into a room, you didn't see a criminal, you saw a genius. She teamed up with a marketing expert named Sebastian Greenwood. Together, they realized something brilliant. Ordinary people didn't understand how Bitcoin worked. It was too complicated. Wallets, private keys, mining. It was scary. So, Ruja offered a solution: OneCoin. She told investors, "You don't need to understand the technology. I will do it for you." It was pitched as the people's coin. But unlike Bitcoin, you couldn't buy it on an open market. They used a strategy called multi-level marketing. If you bought a package, you got tokens. If you recruited your friend, you got a commission. If they recruited their friend, you got paid again. It spread like a virus. The money started pouring in, not just millions, but billions. Ruja was on the cover of Forbes Bulgaria. She was throwing parties in Dubai. She was buying mansions in London. She had convinced the world that OneCoin was the next big thing. But behind the glamour, the PhDs, and the magazine covers, there was a dark secret that only a few people knew. Dr. Ruja wasn't building a bank. She was building a bomb. By 2016, OneCoin was unstoppable. It was supposedly processing more transactions than Visa. But in the tech world, people started asking questions. If this OneCoin is so revolutionary, where's the code? Where is the blockchain? Ruja had an answer for everything. She said it was private for security reasons. But she knew the clock was ticking. She needed to make it real. Enter Bjorn Bjerke, a blockchain developer with a serious reputation. OneCoin approached him with an offer most people couldn't refuse: a massive salary, a luxury apartment in London, and a private car. The job description? To come in and build the OneCoin blockchain. Bjorn was confused. He asked, "Wait, you've been selling this coin for 2 years. You have millions of users. What do you mean, build the blockchain? Don't you already have one?" The answer he got sent chills down his spine. They told him, "No, we don't." This was the smoking gun. OneCoin wasn't a cryptocurrency. It didn't have a decentralized network. It didn't have miners. It was essentially a glorified Excel spreadsheet running on a SQL database. And who had the password to that spreadsheet? Dr. Ruja. With Bitcoin, the price is determined by the market, buyers and sellers. With OneCoin, the price was determined by Ruja. If she wanted the price to go up, she just typed a new number. It was a simulation, a video game, and the investors were the players. Bjorn decided to test it. He logged into the OneCoin exchange website, which showed a live feed of transactions happening globally. He ran a test. He transferred coins between two wallets. He waited for it to show up on the screen. Nothing happened. But the screen kept scrolling with fake transactions. He realized the live blockchain was just a pre-recorded script, a screensaver designed to fool grandmothers and factory workers. But the lie had to get bigger. They had sold so many coins that they hit their limit. In a real economy, this means the price goes up. But Ruja broke every rule of economics. She went on stage at Wembley and announced a new blockchain. She told the cheering crowd, "We are going to switch off the old system, and to thank you, we will double your coins." Imagine if the US Federal Reserve said, "Tomorrow, every dollar bill in your pocket will become $2. The value of money would crash to zero. That's basic inflation. But OneCoin investors didn't care about economics. They saw their account balances double overnight. They felt rich. On paper, they were millionaires. But in reality, they were holding absolutely nothing. Ruja had bought herself more time, but she had also painted a target on her back. Because you can only fake reality for so long before reality fights back. And the FBI was just waking up. By 2017, Ruja had a problem most people dream of. She had too much money. OneCoin was generating so much cash that they literally couldn't bank it fast enough. There were rumors of apartments in Hong Kong stacked floor to ceiling with cash. But banks started asking questions. They froze accounts. They blocked transfers. Ruja needed a professional money launderer, and she found one in her own bed. Meet Gilbert Armenta, a wealthy financier and Ruja's secret boyfriend. While Ruja was the face of the operation, Gilbert was the muscle behind the bank accounts. He set up shadow companies and moved hundreds of millions of dollars through the Finero funds. It seemed like the perfect partnership, love and money. But Ruja was paranoid. Ruja didn't trust anyone, not even the man she loved. She hired a former spy to break into Gilbert's apartment and plant listening devices. She wanted to know if he was stealing from her. But what she heard on those tapes was far worse than theft. The FBI had already gotten to Gilbert. They had arrested him secretly, and they gave him a choice: go to prison for life or turn on your girlfriend. Gilbert chose to save himself. He became an FBI informant. For months, every phone call, every meeting, every whisper of "I love you" was being recorded by the US government. It became a game of spy versus spy. On one side, Gilbert was recording Ruja for the FBI. On the other side, Ruja was recording Gilbert because she suspected betrayal. The walls were closing in. Ruja received a tip-off, likely from corrupt officials within European intelligence, that an indictment was coming. Operation Satellite was ready to launch. The FBI, the Germans, the British, they were all coming for the Cryptoqueen. She knew she had days, maybe hours, before the handcuffs clicked. She had to make a choice: fight the charges and face 50 years in an American prison, or take the money and run. October 25, 2017. Dr. Ruja was a billionaire. She owned yachts, mansions, and private jets. But on this morning, she didn't take a private jet. She took a budget flight, Ryanair. From Sofia, Bulgaria to Athens, Greece. She traveled light, no entourage, no fanfare. Just her, a bodyguard, and, presumably, access to billions of dollars in crypto wallets. The plane landed. She stepped onto the tarmac in Athens. She got into a car, and the trail went cold. That was the last confirmed sighting of Dr. Ruja Ignatova. Behind her, she left chaos. She left her brother Konstantin to run the company. He was a former forklift driver with no business experience. He had no idea he was the fall guy. While Ruja was ghosting the world, Konstantin was left holding the bag. A few months later, the FBI caught him at LAX airport. He is now sitting in a US prison. But he didn't know where his sister was. No one did. In early 2018, authorities finally raided the OneCoin headquarters. They found servers. They found documents. But the most important thing was missing: the money. And the Queen. The scam had collapsed. The investors realized their dashboard numbers were worthless. Suicides, bankruptcies, and ruined lives followed. But Ruja was already gone. So, where is the woman who stole $4 billion? For years, the FBI has hunted her. They put her on the top 10 most wanted list, the only woman alongside cartel bosses and murderers. They offered a $5 million reward. But the trail leads to two very different and very dark possibilities. Theory number 1. She is alive and living like a queen. Intelligence reports suggest she may have undergone massive plastic surgery. Blonde hair, new nose, new chin. Some say she is hiding in plain sight in a Dubai penthouse or a Russian compound, protected by powerful friends. Remember, she allegedly holds 230,000 bitcoins on encrypted USB drives. If that's true, she isn't just a fugitive. She is one of the richest women on Earth. But recently, a darker theory emerged, one that involves the Bulgarian Mafia boss known as Taki. Investigative journalists uncovered documents suggesting that Ruja didn't escape. She was silenced. According to leaked police reports, in November 2018, a drug lord ordered her assassination on a private yacht in the Ionian Sea. The report claims she was killed, her body dismembered and tossed into the ocean. Why? Because she knew too much about their money laundering. To them, she was just a loose end. Is she sipping champagne in Dubai with a new face? Or is she sleeping at the bottom of the Mediterranean Sea? We may never know, but she left us with one final lesson. In the world of crypto, if something looks too good to be true, it's probably a lie. Right now, she could be sitting in the next room, or watching this video with you. $4 billion. Zero traces. The perfect crime.